If you're thinking about moving to Arizona, you've probably heard this. Arizona is running out of water. And for a lot of people, this is the one thing that almost stops them from making the move. But here's the truth. What you're hearing in the headlines and what's actually happening in Arizona are two very different things. And what most people don't realize, the real impact isn't running out of water, it's what it's going to cost you to live here and enjoy the water. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the real truth about Arizona's water supply in 2026, including what's already happening in cities like Gilbert. So you can decide for yourself, should this actually stop you from moving here? And what I want to be really clear is that this isn't going to be a, oh, it's totally fine, don't worry about it. And it's also not gonna be fear-based either, trying to scare you. This is just gonna be the honest, real picture, because the truth is water is a big factor here, but it's not the crisis most people think it is. Let's start with the facts. The Colorado River, which supplies water to about 40 million people, is under serious pressure right now. We are in one of the worst long-term droughts in over 100 years. Water levels are down, the snowpack is lower, and Arizona is getting less water allocation. Arizona has already had significant cuts and more are expected. So yes, this part is real, but here's where most people get this wrong. They hear Arizona water crisis and immediately think Phoenix is gonna run out of water. That is not what's happening. Phoenix does not rely just on one water source. It actually has a whole diversified system. Saltwater River, Verde River, Colorado River, groundwater, and only about 40% comes from the Colorado River, which means the majority of the water supply is coming from other sources that are not directly impacted by those cuts. Yay! So what does that mean? Your water is not going to get shut off here. Experts are very clear there's no concern about the taps running dry in established Phoenix metro cities. But here's the real impact. Water is getting more expensive and homeowners are already starting to feel it. By the way, if we haven't met, I'm Alejandra, the creator of Moving to Arizona. My family moved here from California 10 years ago. And now my team and I specialize in helping people move here full time. And there have been so many of you calling and wanting our help, and I love it. Feel free to reach out directly. You can call, text, or click the link below that says, thinking of moving to Arizona, start here. Phoenix is expected to enter drought stage 2 by the end of 2026. Okay, that sounds super intense, but here's what it actually means. It doesn't mean water shutoffs, doesn't mean rationing your daily use. It means higher water bills, surcharges for higher usage, encouragement to conserve your water. So it's about managing usage and not losing access. Let me give you a real local example, because this is already happening in a small town here that's a popular place to live, called Gilbert. The water bills have gone up significantly over the past few years, and I'm not talking about small increases. The water rates have increased 50% in 2024, another 25% on top of that in 2025, and another 25% was approved for this year of 2026. This is a multi-year compounding increase, but that all sounds crazy up in the air. Let me give you some real numbers so you can understand better. For a typical home using about 15,000 gallons per month, that 2026 increase alone adds $22 more per month. So if your water bill used to be $70 to $100 a month a few years ago, with all of the increases, it's now realistic to be $120 to $180 per month, depending on the usage. And if you have a pool, you got real grass, a larger lot, heavy irrigation, you could easily see a bill of $200 or more per month. So when you stack all of those increases together, many homeowners are absolutely starting to feel it. I've actually seen this firsthand. I've met with several homeowners who currently live in Gilbert, and they're exploring moving to other areas because they're not liking how high their water bill has gotten, and they're concerned, is it gonna get higher? I mean, don't get me wrong, they still love Gilbert, they love the community, they love the schools, and they love the lifestyle, but the cost of living there has gotten too high, especially that water bill. So when people ask, is Arizona running out of water? The better question is, what is water gonna cost me to live here? Because in strong established cities like Gilbert, the concern is not supply, it's the cost. So you're gonna have higher monthly bills, more pressure to conserve, more attention on how your home uses water. And if you're buying in areas like Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, Scottsdale, you're in a strong position for long-term water security, which is great, but you should absolutely expect increased water bills over time, more awareness about your water usage, and more importance on water efficient homes. This is why I always tell my clients, don't just look at the mortgage payment, look at all of your total cost of living, your utilities, your mortgage. This will give you better cost of living per month. Something to keep in mind is that this whole water risk is not equal everywhere. This is one of the biggest things people don't understand. Established cities like Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, Scottsdale, Phoenix, these areas are considered stronger for a reason. They have diversified water sources, long-term planning in place. They've got water reserves and really strict management policies. And I want to clarify something because this is where people get confused. Just because an area is strong does not mean an area is cheap. In fact, it's actually the quite opposite. Take Gilbert, for example. Gilbert is one of the strongest, best managed cities when it comes to water planning. But because of that, they've had to invest heavily in the infrastructure, long-term supply, and sustainability. And that's exactly why we're seeing these significant water bill increases. You're not paying more because there's no water. You're paying more to make sure there is water for the long term. So when you hear Gilbert has high water bills, it's true, but it's not because the system is failing. It's because the system is being reinforced. Something to remember, strong cities equal more reliable water long term, but often comes with higher utility costs. Now, higher risk areas are going to be the outer edge communities or those areas relying heavily on one water source. So what exactly does this mean? Where you buy matters more than if you buy. And also I want to talk about the West Valley because I don't want this to sound like, oh, it's only an East Valley conversation. Areas like Peoria, Glendale, Surprise, and parts of Phoenix are actually in a strong position when it comes to water. They have diversified water sources, access to cap water, groundwater, and established infrastructure. So from a water standpoint, these are considered stable, well-supported areas. Where you want to be a little bit more aware is when you start getting further out into some of the faster growing outer areas. For example, Buckeye and parts of the far West Valley like Tonopah. Now, this doesn't mean don't buy there, but it does mean you want to understand where the water is coming from. Some of these areas rely more heavily on groundwater or have had to adjust development based on water availability. So remember, it's not East Valley versus West Valley, it's established infrastructure versus newer expansion areas. So if you're considering the West Valley, just like the East Valley, look at the specific city, not just the region, because these are great opportunities on both sides of the valley. Now, what are the long-term solutions? Phoenix isn't just reacting, it's actually planning ahead. One of the biggest developments is recycled drinking water. This is so cool. Phoenix is building systems to convert treated wastewater into clean drinking water, and it's expected to be done around 2029. What's even better is this is actually already being done successfully in San Diego, Los Angeles, and Singapore. So this is a real proven technology that is soon coming to Arizona. So what exactly does this mean to Arizona homeowners? You're going to expect higher water bills over time. We're already seeing this. Clearly, as I told you in Gilbert, homes with desert landscaping will become more valuable and of interest to people. Grass lawns will probably become less desirable unless you want to pay those bills, and water efficient homes are going to stand out more. Buyers are going to start paying closer attention to utility costs, not just purchase price. Here's exactly what I tell my clients. Find out where the water comes from. Pay attention to landscaping. Factor in utility costs. Think long term. So, should you be worried about the Arizona water? No. If you're buying in the right areas and you understand the situation, you'll be good. But it's important to be informed because water is a huge factor in Arizona. This is the desert, of course. All right, Arizona's water situation is real. But remember, it's manageable. And cities like Gilbert are already adapting, even if that means higher costs. This isn't a surprise problem, it's a long-term challenge with real solutions already in motion. And remember, if you're thinking of moving to Arizona, reach out. My team and I would love to help guide you here. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, as I share videos multiple times a week, helping guide you on your move, talking about Arizona, living here and moving here. Plus I share beautiful property tours. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.